For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
On the morning of July 12, 2001, 31-year-old Morgan Hastings left his boat off the coast of Key Largo, Florida, to document the devastating effects of coral bleaching. He never resurfaced. Despite an extensive search involving the Coast Guard and local divers, Morgan vanished without a trace. For 23 years, his family lived with agonizing uncertainty, clinging to the hope that one day they would learn his fate. Then, in the spring of 2024, a discovery was made deep within the vibrant coral reefs. This is the complete investigation into what happened to Morgan Hastings, and how a dive mask, silent for decades, finally spoke volumes. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy this content, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now let's continue. The turquoise waters off Key Largo, Florida, teemed with life. Beneath the surface, vibrant coral reefs pulsed with color, a world Morgan Hastings knew intimately. A dedicated environmental activist and underwater videographer, Morgan had spent years documenting the delicate ecosystem, capturing its beauty and fragility. His friends and colleagues remember him as a man driven by a deep passion for the ocean, a tireless advocate for its preservation. He possessed an infectious enthusiasm, inspiring others to join him in his mission to protect these underwater wonderlands. On a clear July morning in 2001, Morgan set out on what seemed like a routine dive. The weather was calm, the sea a gentle swell. He planned to film a section of the reef known for its diverse coral formations, hoping to document the early signs of coral bleaching that were beginning to plague the area. He departed from the marina in his small research vessel, a familiar sight to the local community. His husband, Blake Garrison, waved him off from the dock, recalling later that Morgan seemed excited about the day's work. The dive site, a popular spot amongst local divers, was approximately 5 miles offshore. Morgan meticulously prepared his equipment, a ritual he performed with practiced ease. He entered the water, disappearing beneath the waves, his camera rig trailing behind him. He was never seen alive again. The alarm was raised hours later when Morgan failed to return to the marina. Blake Garrison reported him missing, his voice laced with anxiety. The Coast Guard launched an extensive search and rescue operation, their boats crisscrossing the designated area. Volunteer divers, many of whom knew Morgan personally, joined the effort, scouring the reef for any sign of him. Days turned into weeks, the hope of finding him alive dwindling with each passing hour. The search was eventually called off, the official declaration stating that Morgan Hastings was presumed lost at sea. The news devastated his friends and family, leaving a gaping hole in the tight-knit community of Key Largo. Blake Garrison, portrayed in news reports as the grieving spouse, spoke of his profound loss, his words echoing the collective sorrow that enveloped the town. The question of what truly happened to Morgan Hastings remained unanswered, a haunting mystery beneath the shimmering surface of the Florida Keys. The disappearance of Morgan Hastings prompted an immediate investigation by the Monroe County Sheriff's Department. Detectives began by interviewing Blake Garrison, Morgan's husband, who provided a detailed account of Morgan's planned dive and his last known movements. Garrison recounted waving goodbye to Morgan from the dock, emphasizing his excitement about the day's filming. He cooperated fully with the investigators, answering their questions with apparent sincerity. Ethan Reyes, a deckhand who occasionally assisted Morgan on his research trips, was also questioned. Reyes confirmed Garrison's account of the morning, adding that Morgan's equipment appeared to be in perfect working order. He stated he had last seen Morgan preparing his dive gear on the dock, seemingly in good spirits and physically fit. Investigators meticulously examined Morgan's boat, searching for any clues that might shed light on his disappearance. They checked his diving equipment for signs of malfunction, scrutinized his logbook for any unusual entries, and analyzed the GPS data from his boat, confirming his arrival at the designated dive site. However, the search yielded no concrete evidence. There were no signs of a struggle, no damaged equipment, no distress signals, and, most crucially, no body. The investigation focused on the inherent dangers of diving, particularly the possibility of accidental drowning. Experienced divers can succumb to a range of underwater hazards, from equipment failure and nitrogen narcosis to unexpected currents and encounters with marine life. The lack of any witnesses to Morgan's dive made it impossible to determine with certainty what had occurred beneath the surface. The police also examined Morgan's life insurance policy, a standard procedure in missing person cases. The policy, taken out several years prior, named Blake Garrison as the sole beneficiary. At this stage, the policy was considered a routine detail, not a cause for suspicion. Weeks turned into months, and the investigation gradually stalled. Without a body or any definitive evidence of foul play, the case of Morgan Hastings' disappearance remained unsolved, classified as a tragic accident, another statistic in the annals of maritime mysteries. The file, thick with reports and interviews, began to gather dust, a silent testament to the unanswered questions that lingered over Key Largo. The unresolved disappearance of Morgan Hastings cast a long shadow over the lives of those who knew him. Friends and colleagues grappled with the lack of closure, their memories of the vibrant, passionate videographer tinged with sadness and unanswered questions. The once vibrant coral reefs he loved so much now served as a constant reminder of his absence. The close-knit community of Key Largo, initially united in the search effort, slowly began to accept that Morgan might never be found. Theories surrounding his disappearance continued to circulate. Some speculated about a shark attack, despite the lack of any evidence. Others suggested disorientation or equipment malfunction, possibilities that had been explored but never confirmed by the initial investigation. The whispers and conjectures, though well-intentioned, only added to the pain and uncertainty felt by Morgan's loved ones. Years passed, and the case grew cold. The initial flurry of activity surrounding the investigation subsided, replaced by a quiet resignation. The file, containing reams of interviews, reports, and photographs, sat untouched in the archives of the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, a testament to the enduring mystery of Morgan Hastings' fate. Inspector Victor Baxter, a seasoned detective with a reputation for tenacity, first encountered the Hastings case years later. Assigned to review cold cases, he was drawn to the peculiar circumstances surrounding Morgan's disappearance. The lack of a body, the absence of definitive evidence, and the lingering questions surrounding the incident piqued his interest. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, a determination to bring closure to a case that had been abandoned by time. He pored over the original case files, scrutinizing every detail, searching for any overlooked clues that might reignite the investigation. He saw the frustration of the initial investigators, the dead ends they encountered, the gradual acceptance that the case might never be solved. The dusty file became a symbol of unfinished business, a challenge that Inspector Baxter was determined to overcome. He knew that somewhere within those pages, hidden amongst the reports and testimonies, lay the key to unlocking the truth behind Morgan Hastings' disappearance. 23 years after Morgan Hastings vanished beneath the waves, a chance discovery rekindled the dormant investigation. A group of recreational divers, exploring a section of the reef several miles from Morgan's last known location, stumbled upon something unexpected wedged between two large coral formations. Initially, they thought it was a piece of debris, a discarded piece of diving equipment left behind by a careless tourist. As they approached, however, they realized it was a dive mask, encrusted with marine growth, its once vibrant colors muted by years of exposure to the saltwater. Careful not to disturb the surrounding coral, one of the divers gently retrieved the mask. As they brought it to the surface, the sunlight revealed something unsettling. Deep scratches marred the lens, and the strap, frayed and discolored, appeared to have been deliberately cut. The divers, sensing something more sinister than a simple equipment malfunction, immediately contacted the authorities. The dive mask, carefully packaged and documented, was sent to the Monroe County Sheriff's Department. Inspector Baxter recognized the significance of the discovery immediately. Could this be the breakthrough they had been waiting for? Photographs of the mask were taken, documenting every detail: the deep scratches on the lens, the jagged cut in the strap, the marine growth that hinted at its long submersion. The mask was then sent to Dr. Patricia Flores, a leading forensic specialist renowned for her expertise in underwater crime scene analysis. In her sterile laboratory, Dr. Flores meticulously examined the mask. She carefully extracted strands of hair trapped within the silicone seal, noting their color and texture. Using advanced DNA analysis techniques, She compared the hair samples to a DNA profile obtained from Morgan Hastings' personal belongings. The results were conclusive. The hair found in the mask belonged to Morgan Hastings. Dr. Flores's analysis didn't stop there. She also discovered traces of a potent tranquilizer residue within the silicone of the mask. The presence of this substance, not typically found in diving equipment, raised chilling questions about the circumstances surrounding Morgan's disappearance. Lab footage shows Dr. Flores meticulously swabbing the interior of the mask, her gloved hands moving with practiced precision. Close-up shots of the analysis equipment reveal the telltale signs of the tranquilizer, a silent but damning piece of evidence. The discovery of Morgan Hastings' dive mask, bearing the unmistakable marks of foul play and containing traces of a tranquilizer, transformed a cold case into an active homicide investigation. For Inspector Baxter, this discovery changed everything. The mask, a silent witness to the tragedy that unfolded beneath the waves decades earlier, finally offered a tangible link to Morgan Hastings and a path towards uncovering the truth. The discovery of Morgan Hastings' dive mask breathed new life into the investigation. A dedicated team was assembled, comprised of seasoned detectives, forensic specialists, and diving experts. Inspector Baxter, now leading the investigation, brought a fresh perspective to the case, unburdened by the assumptions and dead ends that had hampered the initial inquiry. Old evidence was re-examined, witness statements reviewed, and the dusty files meticulously scrutinized. The dive site where the mask was found became a focal point of the renewed investigation. Divers painstakingly searched the area, hoping to find further clues, perhaps even Morgan's remains. The seabed was mapped, the currents analyzed, and the coral formations meticulously examined for any trace of the missing videographer. While the search for Morgan's body proved fruitless, the discovery of the mask provided a new starting point, a tangible piece of evidence that pointed towards foul play. Inspector Baxter began by re-interviewing key individuals from the original investigation, including Blake Garrison and Ethan Reyes. He approached these interviews with a new perspective, armed with the knowledge gleaned from the mask's analysis. He focused on inconsistencies in their previous statements, probing for discrepancies and omissions. Blake Garrison, now remarried and living in a different state, maintained his original account of the day Morgan disappeared. He expressed shock and disbelief at the discovery of the mask, reiterating his grief and the profound impact Morgan's loss had on his life. However, under Baxter's persistent questioning, cracks began to appear in his carefully constructed narrative. His recollection of specific details seemed hazy, and his emotional responses appeared contrived, lacking the genuine sorrow one might expect from a grieving spouse. Ethan Reyes, the former deckhand, also underwent a second round of questioning. His initial nervousness escalated into visible discomfort as Inspector Baxter confronted him with the new evidence. He stumbled over his words, offering contradictory statements and evasive answers. The focus of the investigation shifted towards Blake Garrison's financial situation at the time of Morgan's disappearance. A thorough financial investigation revealed a mounting debt burden, a series of failed business ventures, and a substantial life insurance policy on Morgan's life, with Garrison named as the sole beneficiary. These discoveries painted a troubling picture, casting a dark shadow over Garrison's portrayal of himself as the grieving husband. The substantial payout from the insurance policy, coupled with his precarious financial situation, provided a potential motive for Morgan's disappearance, a motive that had been overlooked in the initial investigation. The weight of the evidence, the inconsistencies in Garrison's statements, and the damning financial revelations pointed towards a disturbing possibility that Morgan Hastings' disappearance was not a tragic accident, but a carefully orchestrated crime. The suspicion surrounding Blake Garrison intensified, transforming him from a grieving spouse into the prime suspect in a 23-year-old cold case. The interrogation of Ethan Reyes took place in a small, sparsely furnished room at the Monroe County Sheriff's Department. The air was thick with tension as Inspector Baxter sat across from Reyes, the dive mask, encased in a clear evidence bag, placed prominently on the table between them. Initially, Reyes maintained his innocence, echoing the statements he had given years earlier. He denied any involvement in Morgan's disappearance, claiming he had last seen him preparing his dive gear on the dock. He insisted he knew nothing about the mask or the circumstances surrounding its discovery. However, as Inspector Baxter presented the mounting evidence against Blake Garrison, Reyes's composure began to crumble. He fidgeted nervously, his eyes darting around the room, avoiding direct contact with Baxter's steady gaze. Baxter detailed the financial investigation, highlighting Garrison's mounting debts and the substantial life insurance policy on Morgan. He explained the significance of the tranquilizer residue found on the mask, a detail that clearly unsettled Reyes. He then revealed the discrepancies in Garrison's account of the day Morgan disappeared, pointing out inconsistencies that suggested a carefully constructed lie. The pressure mounted, and Reyes's denials became less convincing, his voice cracking with a mixture of fear and resignation. Finally, after hours of intense questioning, the dam broke. Ethan Reyes confessed. In a halting, tearful confession, Reyes revealed the chilling details of Blake Garrison's plan. Garrison, desperate to escape his financial woes, had devised a scheme to eliminate Morgan and collect the life insurance money. He had offered Reyes a substantial sum of money to help him carry out his plan, a sum that Reyes, struggling with his own financial difficulties, had been unable to refuse. On the morning of the dive, Reyes, following Garrison's instructions, had tampered with Morgan's airline, subtly severing a crucial connection that would compromise its functionality underwater. He then followed Morgan to the dive site, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. As Morgan descended, unaware of the sabotage, Reyes followed him into the water. He waited until Morgan was engrossed in filming, his attention focused on the coral reef below. Then, in a chilling act of betrayal, Reyes approached Morgan from behind and held him underwater, preventing him from surfacing. He watched as Morgan struggled, his desperate attempts to breathe thwarted by the compromised airline and Reyes's relentless grip. Reyes recounted the horrifying moments as Morgan's struggles ceased, his body going limp, his life extinguished beneath the waves. He then planted the dive mask, which he had previously scratched and cut, amongst the coral, ensuring it would remain hidden for years. Years later, Garrison instructed Reyes to retrieve the mask and plant it where it would be found, hoping to reignite the investigation and deflect suspicion from himself. Reyes, burdened by guilt and fear, complied with Garrison's demands. Inspector Baxter listened to Reyes's confession with a mixture of relief and sadness. The truth, though horrific, had finally been revealed, bringing a sense of closure to a case that had haunted him for years. The relief of solving the mystery was tempered by the profound sadness of the circumstances, the calculated betrayal and cold-blooded murder of a man who had dedicated his life to protecting the ocean he loved. The arrest of Blake Garrison followed swiftly. He was apprehended at his home, his initial denial quickly crumbling in the face of the overwhelming evidence against him. The confession of Ethan Reyes, corroborated by the forensic evidence and the financial investigation, sealed his fate. The dive mask, once a symbol of mystery and loss, now became a crucial piece of evidence, a silent witness to a crime that had remained hidden for over 2 decades. The trial of Blake Garrison and Ethan Reyes captivated the nation, a chilling tale of betrayal, greed, and a meticulously planned murder. The courtroom was packed with reporters, family members, and friends of Morgan Hastings, all seeking justice for the man whose life had been tragically cut short. The prosecution presented a compelling case, weaving together the forensic evidence, financial records, and the damning confession of Ethan Reyes. Dr. Patricia Flores testified about the significance of the tranquilizer residue found on the mask, explaining how it supported Reyes's account of Morgan being forcibly held underwater. She detailed the meticulous analysis conducted in her laboratory, highlighting the scientific rigor behind her findings. The dive mask, a silent but powerful witness, was presented as Exhibit A. Its scratched lens and cut strap a stark reminder of the violence that had taken place beneath the waves. Ethan Reyes, his voice trembling with a mixture of guilt and remorse, recounted the events of that fateful day. He described how he had tampered with Morgan's airline, how he had held him underwater, and how he had later planted the mask amongst the coral. His testimony, though difficult to hear, provided a chillingly detailed account of Morgan's final moments. The defense attempted to discredit Reyes's testimony, portraying him as a desperate man seeking to minimize his own culpability. They argued that the evidence was circumstantial, that no body had ever been recovered, and that the possibility of an accidental drowning could not be definitively ruled out. However, the weight of the evidence against Garrison and Reyes proved insurmountable. The jury, after days of deliberation, returned a unanimous verdict, guilty on all counts. Blake Garrison was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Ethan Reyes, who had cooperated with the prosecution, received a reduced sentence for his role in the crime. The verdict brought a sense of closure to Morgan Hastings' friends and family, a measure of justice for the man they had lost. Tears of relief and grief mingled as the judge read the verdict, a culmination of years of unanswered questions and a relentless pursuit of the truth. While the conviction brought a sense of justice, the pain of Morgan's loss remained. His body was never recovered, leaving a lingering void in the lives of those who loved him. The coral reefs he so passionately documented now served as a poignant reminder of his absence, a testament to the life he had dedicated to their preservation. The case of Morgan Hastings highlighted the devastating consequences of greed and betrayal, the fragility of trust, and the enduring power of truth. It underscored the crucial role of forensic science in solving complex crimes, the importance of persistent investigation, and the unwavering dedication of those who seek justice for the victims of violent crime. The dive mask, once a symbol of mystery and loss, became a symbol of justice served, a testament to the power of forensic evidence and the unwavering pursuit of truth, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Although Morgan's body rests somewhere in the depths of the ocean he loved, his memory lives on, a beacon of hope for the future of the reefs he fought so hard to protect. The resolution of the case, while bringing a measure of closure, also served as a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface, a darkness that can shatter lives and leave an enduring legacy of grief and loss.